bring in Sprite from Eternals. No one talks about her.
Hey everybody, it's Hannah Saulic, the head of video here at CinemaBlend, with Sean O'Connell, our managing editor, and Law Sharma, one of our senior video producers, and we are here today to discuss all things Ms. Marvel, including some theories about her powers and a possible Eternals team up.
Hi.
Law, Sean, how you guys doing?
Morbin.
Oh, come on.
Great.
Now I'm
yes.
horrible. Now I'm having a bad time.
Oh God.
That's not true. It's impossible to be upset when we're morbid.
Well, that's it. Law, you're going first. What did you think of Ms. Marvel episode 1?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough to see the first 2 episodes, but I'll stick to the first episode, and I'm in love with it. I think it's really unique to the MCU. It has kind of a Scott Pilgrim feel to it. I love all the South Asian representation. Yusuf looks like my own dad in a lot of ways too. So there's some weird, there's some cultural elements that I really enjoy. But as far as Kamala goes, I am so ready to see the rest of her journey. I think she's just a really interesting protagonist. And regardless of the changes that happen from the comics, I'm in for this ride. And Avengers Con looks amazing. I wish it was a real place I could visit. But
if
yeah,
they don't do a
far.
pop-up at San Diego Comic-Con of Avengers Con, that is a huge missed opportunity for Disney. Because it's kind of a little bit low budget looking, so it would be very easy, I feel to recreate that in some way.
In concept, it is pretty easy.
I don't mean that as a dig.
No. I think Kevin Feige came out and said that he would like to make it a real thing, but I would like an invite.
Look, I promise I wouldn't do anything stupid. You do trust me, right?
Iman Vellani is a star. She's going to be enormous for the MCU. She's terrific casting for Kamala Khan and is just a huge, ball of charm and effervescence. And she gives us this, she gives off this amazing.
Wow. What a word.
Yeah, she's terrific. She's terrific. And part of it is her personality for sure. Part of it is the style of the show. Bilal and Adil, who directed the first episode, it's a perfect representation of when Marvel gives over complete control to directors and lets them bring their vision to it. Those guys did Bad Boys for Life, and that thing had a ton of energy to it. And they're also going to take over Beverly Hills Cop.
Ooh.
And we interviewed them on the podcast on Real Blend, and they are just chaotic. The two of them together are a huge ball of energy. And so I could see that kind of style being brought to the types of things that they work on. They're just super fans. And so I really liked it. I mean, when I was watching it, I was like, boy, there's a complete lack of superhero action in this. So if you're dialing into the show looking for, especially coming off of Moon Knight, which Moon Knight had a lot of action in it. Yeah, right, exactly. But I didn't mind it because I really enjoyed getting used to the people in the neighborhood. And I was talking to a friend of mine recently who was like, God, everything feels like, the Marvel movies and shows are shot on that Atlanta set. It just looks like things are being recycled and it feels like the same place too often. But this felt like Jersey City. It felt like they were on location in a place on the outskirts of Manhattan. And when she dreamed of escaping from her house and going to Avengers Con, I felt like I was in that place. I was kind of immersed in that experience. So it's off to a great start. I can't wait to see where it goes because I don't know the hint of what a bad guy might be. But it's also one of those deals where I don't need there to be a huge bad guy. I just kind of like getting to know her. And if this is the introduction before they use her in the Marvels eventually, then great. Let us get to know her for a couple episodes.
It's your time to shine, literally.
All right, so let's obviously talk about her powers now because that's been a huge point of discussion pretty much everywhere. Sean, Law, do one of you guys kind of want to give context to that or explain kind of what her powers were in the comic book for people who might not know and how it differs?
Well, I know in the comics, Kamala is she's an Inhuman, and Inhumans, similar to mutants, they have different sets of powers. But Kamala, she had what we call the embiggening power. She can get real big, real small, real stretchy. So almost like a shapeshifter in a way. And then there was always conversation about the power change being because they didn't want it to conflict with Mr. Fantastic eventually ending up in the MCU. And so instead, now we're getting kind of a Green Lantern-esque construct version of this power. But obviously, visually, I think it works. It totally ties into like the Captain Marvel like cosmic vibe, and we're also seeing like giant fists and you know, like stretchy limbs. So it's a big change, but I don't think it'll necessarily make the biggest effect on the story. I think the story is still going to remain Kamala Khan as we know and love her in the comics.
One thing that I do want to mention though, and only because this got brought up in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, is that Kamala's origin in the comics has something to do with the Terrigen mists, and the Terrigen mists are something that it's like a vapor essentially that comes off of these Terrigen stones or
Crystals,
gems.
yeah.
Law, do you remember?
It's like a crystal,
crystals.
yeah.
And she, like, her origin is a little bit silly. Like, she's out at a party. She snuck out of her house. She's like on the beachfront, you know, at a high school party, and the mist comes out and covers everybody at the party, and it changes something inside of her. And since we haven't met the Inhumans yet, and although it has, because Black Bolt is an Inhuman in another multiverse, which means that, and they refer to him as like the keeper of the Terrigen Mists, don't they? Yeah. The king of the Terrigen Mists. So like that's a possibility. Like it's definitely not a mistake that they were mentioned in Doctor Strange, only for now us to get her origin story. So there could be something to do with the Terrigen Mists and that being the power inside the Bangles.
I have a theory, if you guys are interested, that's been kind of going around that I think is really good.
Get ready for it.
So for those who don't know already, there's been a lot of chatter in the Marvel fandom that Kamala's Bangle is actually the MCU's version of the Nega-Bands and Quantum Bands kind of combined in one. And in case you don't know what the Nega-Bands or Quantum Bands are, they're basically bands that give the wearer powers like energy manipulation and cosmic awareness. I'll pop a cute little graphic up in case anybody wants to pause and read more. But the main difference between the two is that the Nega-Bands are Kree artifacts that draw power from the negative zone, and the Quantum Bands draw power from the quantum zone and are believed to originally be created by Eternals, but a cosmic being named Eon controls them. They're also believed to be the blueprint for the Kree to create the Nega-Bands, but that's neither here nor there. The main thing that's important is the origin of both these bands, especially when you consider why the origins of Kamala's powers were changed for the MCU. So Kevin Feige has basically said that they changed Miss Marvel's origins to better align with the MCU, right? So she'll next appear in the Marvels, and all things cosmic are at the forefront of the MCU right now, so it would make sense to tie Kamala's powers to either the Kree or cosmic entities like
An Eternal.
Also, Sana Amanat, who co-created Kamala Khan and is also a producer on the show, chimed in about the power change and said, "From my understanding, it was kind of linked to the type of story that we wanted to tell with Kamala, and not only linkage to other MCU events, but also to the sense of history that she has and the relationship to her family. Linking the powers to her family's past, I think that was really the bigger idea." Which got me thinking. Okay, so if these Bangles have been in her family for so long, and that's a really important point of like how she got these powers and the origins, do y'all remember in Eternals when like Phastos is making those, I think they were bracelets? I have not seen that movie in a while. But like I said, in the comics, the Quantum Bands do have connections to Eternals, and so I'm wondering if in the MCU they'll be connected to how Kamala's ancestors got the Bangle. That's like kind of a long shot, but anyway, it's all a larger tie into the Marvels, obviously, which is why all of this stuff was changed, which I think is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I kind of love that. That's like very MCU to, you know, like you look at the Tesseract, right? The Cosmic Cube and the Space Stone were they're completely different artifacts in the comics, but they meshed them together, made it work for the story. So I could see that being a legitimate thing. Like that sounds pretty good.
Isn't it perfect, just pending the final flourish?
It also speaks a little bit to what we're seeing in Phase 4, which is super old artifacts like the rings, you know, that are part of family heritage that are now resurfacing after getting passed down from generation to generation. There's definitely a lot of that in Eternals also, you know, centuries old artifacts.
I do want to make a call out to another Eternals connection that we personally are kind of theorizing around, because when Eric from CinemaBlend was interviewing Iman, he asked,
what other young heroes would you like to see Kamala team up with going forward? I mean, like for you, what is your dream lineup for a Young Avengers or a champion?
Perfect. Ironheart, easy. Kate Bishop, why not? Spider-Man, I feel like that'd be fun. America Chavez. Let's bring in Sprite. from Eternals. No one talks about her.
But at the red carpet premiere for Ms. Marvel, Leah McHugh, who plays Sprite, also kind of talked about the idea of joining a young Avengers with all of these young heroes that are rising in the MCU.
That would be really cool. That would be awesome. Any opportunity I can get with Marvel, honestly. But yeah, being a part of a new Avengers, that'd be pretty sick. I mean.
And it just got me.
So you think it's a conspiracy?
Yeah, like why did they mention each other? Is that gonna be something? Because Sprite, she was a historian for the Eternals in a lot of ways, a storyteller. There's a lot of information over these eras that she can bestow upon Kamala, you know, even if there is a history with the Inhumans in this universe, if there is a history with mutants, any of that stuff, or the artifacts themselves, if anyone's gonna have information, I think it's the Eternal that saw it all happen, maybe.
So does she have powers now still?
I don't think so. And Iman says in her interview too, like
she's human now. She can age. I guess she's still young. That movie confuses me sometimes.
Which made me giggle, but it's like, but I don't know. Kind of like in comic books, if someone dies, you don't know if they're really dead. If someone gets depowered, I got to assume there's a chance to get repowered later down the road.
I just don't understand why Leah McHugh was at the red carpet for Ms. Marvel. Like, I know that random Marvel actors can show up and support, for these red carpet premieres, but sometimes people show up and it's a dead giveaway. Like Ben Kingsley walks the red carpet for Shang-Chi, and then everyone's like, "Oh,
Trevor."
I guess Trevor's gonna be in it.
Oh, hello, loves. What year is it?
So her showing up at the Ms. Marvel carpet feels like a.
But like, had we not had that answer to connect, I never would have thought it was weird. I would have been like, oh, there's Leah McHugh.
Exactly.
Maybe Kevin Feige thought, I don't have to get the snipers out today because no one's talked about this.
We got you, Kevin Feige.
Thanks, Leah and Iman.
And we're high-fiving in slow motion.
And I think too, with Sprite specifically, like if she does somehow get with Ms. Marvel and like, let's say she was there when whoever the first ancestor was to acquire these bangles, like she could probably be, to Law's earlier point, a really good person to sort of like shepherd Kamala through some of this stuff. But then I guess that doesn't make sense because that's kind of like the role we assume Captain Marvel will play in the Marvels, is kind of like mentor-ish person, right? I don't know. I have to go watch the Eternals again because I don't remember a lot from that movie.
Cut.
This is like one of the most recent movies in the MCU.
Katie!
Please, I want to remember.
Can any of you tell me how long ago the Eternals came to Earth?
7,000 years ago.
It's like 10 or 15
Thank you,
years.
Law. Thank you.
7,000
It was
years.
in November.
It was November 12th.
7,000?
7,000 years they've been on Earth.
That's not an
How
eternity.
did you know that?
I actually remember Eternals pretty well. So if we're doing trivia, Katie, I might be okay.
I mean, is that a challenge?
All right, no, give us more. Yeah, give us more. Do you have more?
Behold.
True or false, Eternals got its PG-13 rating for violence and sexual content.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's gotta be
That's true. There was an awkward sex scene in the beginning of the movie.
I don't remember that literally at all.
Your mind is fracturing.
Is this true? Is that true? Did that really happen?
It's true, buddy. The first one since The Incredible Hulk to get its rating because of sexual
weird.
content.
What was in The Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, when did that happen?
What is categorized as sexual content? Because that does, okay, I don't want to get into that actually.
Yeah.
It's a different video.
You know, I do have a complaint about that scene. Of all the complaints I can make about that scene, is that Cersei, who can transfigure things, didn't make the sand softer or like a bed. Sorry, just something I thought about.
Because I hate it.
Which of the Eternals are alive by the end of the movie?
They're all alive. No one died.
Oh, Hannah.
You gotta be with me, girl.
Yes. Sorry, Mr. Wilson.
I'm gonna leave.
I want you to go home.
Hey, which are alive? Like how many?
Who died?
I will tell you, technically, only one of them.
What?
What?
Okay.
Oh,
Quote, unquote, everything dies except us because we were never alive.
All right, I think it's Gemma Chan's character.
No, it's literally Sprite because she's human, Sean.
Oh my gosh, you're right, because they're all robots.
This movie didn't exist.
Oh my god.
I was gonna be like,
This is not
well,
a real
Gilgamesh
movie.
and
That movie confuses me sometimes.
yeah.
A little bonus content for our Marvel experts. Star Fox at the end, portrayed by Harry Styles, is.
Do you remember? I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you.
Wait, his brother's Thanos.
Yes,
Correct.
but he is the opposite of Thanos in what way?
That he's perfect. Because he's Harry Styles.
Everything you do is impressive. No, I know it's impressive.
He doesn't have the deviant gene. Is that what you're looking for?
Isn't he like a ladies' man, like party person, just like kind of like not that serious?
He has like
Got one.
I'm so proud of you. They allude to it in the movie, but while Thanos wants to cut the population in half, Star Fox wants to increase the population on his own.
Cool.
Oh.
I volunteer.
That's sexual content.
I'm telling you, sexual content, man.
Him and Ego.
Also, shout out to Pip the Troll making his debut in the MCU. Great character.
Yeah, I'm excited about
Hannah, I will say, one of the questions I was going to ask is what accessory did Fastos make? But you already made that connection.
So I technically get 2 points.
Yeah, you're winning. You are winning this
Hannah's
Eternals
officially
trivia.
winning. Although, I don't know, I think Logan was
Law,
at least knowing how long they were on Earth.
Law can probably tell you what happens in the movie in order of plot, and
Katie, I gotta get one. Katie, ask one that I know. Come on. What? Hold on. This is a great quiz. Angelina Jolie's character is named
Athena, right?
Drop the A.
Just
no,
Thena.
Thena. Just Thena.
Drop
Just
the A.
Thena.
Can you name her illness that she had?
Oh my god. Mind weary?
You have mad weary.
Mad weary.
That sounds
that's
terrifying.
partial credit.
Yeah, partial
right.
credit.
That's partial credit. Without
Partial
a doubt.
credit, half a point. All right.
Who's Richard Madden's character? Icarus. He's Icarus.
I was gonna say, here's a hint. He flew too close to the sun.
He's the biggest character from Eternals, from the books. at
No
least.
way he's dead.
No.
Then Sprite and Cersei.
Well, unless he becomes James Bond, then yeah, he's dead.
True. Very good point.
All right, so I'm just going to say that all of you except Lawface.
I'll take it.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Katie.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Clearly, I'm going to go watch Eternals, but we will be back next week to discuss episode 2 of Miss Marvel and continue theorizing about her powers and how all of this connects to the larger MCU. So make sure you hit subscribe and let us know in the comments what you think of our theories.